morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show. It is Michelle Bryant here, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. You are listening to Say Something Real. And yeah, it's going to be some real talk today. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold my peace. Oh, it's going to be some real talk today. Let me say good morning to the brothers in the studio, in the building. What up, Clark Kent? Hey, real strong. I think I'm with you today, bro. How you doing? How was your weekend?
I'm not doing too good.
You're not doing too good?
Yeah, I lost a sister on the motorcycle scene called Short Stuff. She the one that had the accident on the freeway.
I saw something about that.
Yeah, man. I was with her Saturday night. We was out in Beloit having a good time. She always full of life, like to dance. She been riding over 40-some years, experienced rider, And it's sad that, when you just see somebody, it just hurt,
And I'm really sorry. I did see that somebody on a motorcycle had been killed in in an accident.
Yep. So that kind of, I was just with her Saturday night. That's so funny.
What's the sister's name?
We call it Short Stuff. I know about Short Stuff. I got to get a real name. But I've been calling Short Stuff for so many years because she grew up with my sister. She came up with my sister, my older sister. That's how I got into the motorcycle scene with my sister and watching her. And she could outride most dudes in the city.
Go ahead on now.
You know what I'm saying? She's experienced, right? And, rest in peace, And we got condolences go out to the family. But it's kind of hard. It's real hard. This is a hard one.
Man, I'm really sorry. Yeah, I literally, I didn't get the details, but I saw something flash across the news that somebody had lost their life in a motorcycle accident. Yeah. Obviously our condolences to everybody that knows his sister and to her family.
She's a good one. It's a good one.
Jay, how you doing, bro? Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's sad. I seen it in the news yesterday. That this happened on the freeway, and so I just want to send my condolences to the family of the young lady that lost her life. It's never a good thing for anybody to go through something so tragic like that. But now that that's over,
shouts out to the Mighty Rams. I'm sorry, Mighty Rams C. Shouts out to you.
That what who Mighty who?
Yeah, Mighty Rams. And see, that's
that's the club.
She been in that club for 20-something years. Original member, man. That's why it's hard. You know what I'm saying? She's an OG in the game, and it's hard.
Okay. So what were you saying?
Go ahead.
Oh no,
you good.
No, it's all good, man. That we with you today, Clark. We want to make sure, man, that you straight and. For those that knew her, that we send love and we send our prayers to the family. And after something like that, man, I wouldn't even dare to joke, something serious like that. But I just want to say, hey, it's a beautiful day. The sun is out.
Yes.
Meteorologist Man Candela said it's gonna be kind of warm.
It's gonna be a bipolar weather today.
I'm sick of y'all meteorologists.
Meteorologist Man Candela.
You prepare for this crazy thunderstorm,
and then see
you get 20 minutes of downpour.
But that's why you need to listen to my forecast because I didn't predict that.
Where did cold come from yesterday?
You stupid.
I didn't predict that weather.
Oh my God.
From yesterday?
Yeah, if y'all would have listened, I would have told y'all that a cold front was coming in at about 10:03. So you could have had your snowsuit ready.
So what meteorologist equipment do you use?
Well, I use natural equipment like the body. So when my knees start hurting, I know it's rain on the way. So whenever I get that pain in the left knee, meteorologist Man Candela go on TV and let everybody know it's gonna rain. Don't know what time, but it's coming. My knee hurts.
So that's the high tech.
That's it. You don't need all that computer stuff. You just use your body. He did all this bang Mandela.
Sound like somebody big mama walking around the house in that ship. I mean that gown that's shifting. Somebody, it's gonna rain later this evening, and the kids be like, "What you say, my grandma?" Yeah. Oh, it's coming. My knee is acting up.
Hey, but she be right. Is she right though? Is the question. Grandma was right.
That being true.
I'm trying to tell you. I found it to be true though, Shell.
I just stayed in a constant state of being appalled by you.
I'm telling you, I found it to be true.
Yeah, clearly. Let me say good morning to the folks on Facebook and YouTube who, willingly suffer along with us here at the station. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. A couple of quick things. Had the opportunity to go over to Green Tree Preparatory Academy for their 8th grade commencement. I spoke at their graduation. I want to thank Tyra Merriweather for the invite, along with the faculty over at the school. It was cool to see young people doing their thing. Parents showed up in a big way to support these young people. And then on Sunday, I had an opportunity to go to Antioch Missionary Baptist Church. Pastor Mans was gracious enough to have us over. We were talking to people, just making sure that folks are registered to vote and that they are paying attention to the referendums on the ballot, particularly since one of the referendums centers around an issue about whether or not churches should have to close during a pandemic. What we saw happen during COVID. There are pros and cons to that question, not telling anybody how to vote, but to make sure that people are aware that this is on the ballot and that they understand the implications, both on the pros and the cons. So that part was actually really cool. I do have a guest coming in this morning. Attorney Mark Thompson will be in this morning. We missed our time together last week because he wasn't feeling well. So he's going to come in this morning to make up for that. But I got to take a second before I get into all the stuff that's out there and that's going on. First of all, to anyone who has had a graduate young person coming through, whether it was middle school, elementary school, because we had some 5th grade graduations, middle school or high school. And I know we have a series of those coming up in the next week and a half. Just want to say congratulations to everyone. A lot of folks very proud of their children, the work that's being done. And with that being said, got to take a second to talk about a fight that broke out at a graduation service, Carter's Christian Academy, 8th grade. I believe was it 8th grade? Was it high school? Might have been high school. Graduation, which was actually, they used another facility to host that graduation. And so the folks who own that facility had to put out a statement saying, hey, these are not our kids. We had, allowed another school to use the premises, but a fight broke out at the graduation. And when video was being shared of the fight, I'm not realizing it's in Milwaukee. Yeah, I'm thinking like this is somewhere else in the country. I'm shaking my head like this is crazy. The fact that these kids didn't have no problem fighting in front of parents, grown folks, adults. That part was crazy to me. You fight in front of your teachers, but you was fighting in front of parents. And then I'm looking at one of the kids who was clearly like the target of some of this, and they was just like wearing this boy out. And I was like, is this boy's parents here? Like, what's going on? Exactly. And so I'm just gonna say just a couple things, because I have now been to a few graduation events, and I'm just seeing a trend that is irking my soul. So when I think about what kind of culture is created in which young people feel like they don't give a care if it's adults in this room, if it's a graduation, they're going to start swinging, they're going to start fighting. It's a melee. What kind of culture creates that? And I'm going to tell you, I concur and I agree with the people that this mess starts at home before your child ever shows up in a school environment. What you are doing with your children in your house heavily, not 100%, not a guarantee, not ironclad, but heavily influences the way your child is going to conduct themselves when they are here in these streets. I have been to graduations and seen parents, number one, dressed so raggedy at these graduations. They looked like they was getting ready to go clean the grill, or just had rolled up out of bed, or had on hoochie mama booty shorts, inappropriate for your child's graduation. Bras with dirty t-shirts on and jeans. And I'm looking at them like, so if this is how you're dressing for this occasion, what does that say about what you think is the significance of this occasion? I see people look better to go to the club than they do to come to their child's graduation.
Yeah, you're right. I've seen it too. I shook my head.
And so you setting the tone of informalness, anything goes, not a lot of care. And so, because number one, we all know when you dress up, you tend to act a different way. You tend to walk a different way. Your head is held a little higher. You conscientious of the fact that you got on a nice outfit and you're not trying to mess it up, yet alone get into a fight in it. You want to say something, Jay?
Yeah, I was going to say, Deion Sanders said all the time, and when you look good, you feel good.
Yep.
So, and I say this too, with the clubs and things like that, when they change their dress code from hard bottoms and slacks to white t-shirts and Timbs, or white t-shirts and soft bottoms, you bring a totally whole different crowd.
Yeah.
So totally whole different energy.
Because I'm not getting into a fight in my dress shoes.
Come on, man.
I'm not tearing up a $300 shirt, and let me not, I shouldn't say it that way, but a dress shirt, because some of these cats come in gear that they can fight in.
Yeah.
The gear is, the gear is conducive to fighting.
Yeah.
So one of the first things, I just got to say, and I've said this about the way people show up at funerals, looking all a hot behind mess, like y'all, when the airlines got to say, please stop wearing your damn pajamas on our airlines.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah.
Please stop wearing your bed clothes on the airline.
Get up out the bed.
And you don't look like you done rolled around in them all day.
Ugh.
Like, so you telling me you had on pajamas, you got up and took a shower and put on some more damn pajamas to catch a flight?
Put the same ones back on.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. So in some situations, you're creating or helping to lay a foundation for the type of respect that people will come to these events with. And I'm just all I can hear is my mother in my head, Miss Prim and Proper. I could just hear my mother like, what in the world is going on? But I'm all for, you can be business casual. You can be informal and still look like you going somewhere of significance. You ain't got to have on your Sunday's best. Even though some of y'all go to church looking crazy, but you ain't got to have on your Sunday's best. But you do need to look like you're going someplace that is important. And you need to understand the difference between your club clothes and wear to your kids' graduation clothes. I mean, you said some people just don't care.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, do some people know?
Well, no,
because we're getting generations and generations. You passing this nonsense down about gear. I'm looking at kids and the way they dress, to graduate. And I'm like, these kids this don't even look like it's something special and important for these children. You just, whatever they had on yesterday, that's what they got on today at the graduation.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, when you have a parent, and this really starts from when you're young, from in kindergarten, going through school, and picture day, and when they set the tone for how you should dress. So picture day, they put you in a suit, or they put you in something nice when you in kindergarten, right?
Right.
So you wearing this, but we don't understand as kids why I gotta wear this and things like that. But the parents understand that they're setting the tone early.
Exactly.
This is how you look when there's something important, when there's something going on, when you're taking a picture. This is how you're supposed to look, and that starts young. But you see nowadays, you got parents now when it's picture they don't care because either they have drunk or they high or they out doing whatever they want to do. So they kids come looking any old kind of way.
Way too many. Way
old
too
kind
many
of way.
children just out here fending for themselves, taking care of themselves. But, you know, I'm just going to say, and I still got to call. I'm going to come to the phone line. But a lot of parents, y'all setting the tone for this foolishness. You got this tone set in your house.
Yep.
You talk and act any kind of way in front of your kids in your house. Your kids see you talk crazy and act any kind of way to other people. You know, the basic rules. It's so funny. I'm interacting with a lot of young people right now because of a project that I'm working on. And I like watch how people like talk to me, you know, or they send me a text message. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Don't damn hey me.
Yeah, it ain't no hey. Yeah.
First of all, I'm your supervisor.
Yeah, set the tone. That's right.
Second of all, where's the good morning or hello or good afternoon? So instead of like the immediate, you know, pushback, I'll just say good morning, you know, and then so some of them are smart enough, they pick up on it and they respond back in kind. Oh, good morning, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, we don't have no relationship.
Yeah.
But even the people that I got a relationship with, I don't just start like I haven't texted you in a day or two and it's just a question. Hello. Hi, how are you?
Right.
Let me go to the phone line and grab this person real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. I'm not going to keep you long. Tyrone Rivers. Good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Good morning, Clark Kent, man. And crickets, man. Man, you ain't been speaking to me for the last couple of weeks.
He wasn't by the mic, man.
Hey,
Calm down.
I don't need you to defend him.
I'm not defending him. I'm telling you what's going on. Don't talk slick.
I did.
Yeah. Don't talk slick.
Good morning, Jermaine.
Good morning there, Doc.
Man, good morning, Debo. Look here, man, Clark Kent and the family. My condolences, truly, man, and man, just condolences and walk with the Holy Spirit, man. The Holy Spirit will walk with you. It's I know it's tough for you, man, and the family, but be blessed, man. It's a daily occurrence. So you know, my love, prayers, and condolences with you. And we'll get together, man. You know, we'll tip something, man. We'll tip some red wine or something there. So I'm serious. I'll buy the bottle. Ain't no crickets there. I'll buy the bottle. Ain't no crickets there. They're resting. I'll buy the bottle.
Okay, man. Okay, thank you so much.
Look, the culture. Oh man, look here. She always be trying to run me, man.
As opposed to you trying to run me? Is that the problem?
The longest hot air balloon, long throat.
See.
Can't get every word out the dictionary.
See.
But anyway.
See.
Okay, well, I love you, Michelle.
It's too late for all of that.
No,
just go and say goodbye.
I be trying to get
wrap these comments up. Did you call about anything?
Yes, I did.
I can't tell.
Oh. Well, anyway. You're talking about the fights and all, but now it's kind of chilly yesterday, so I can understand maybe a hoodie then, but I can't understand a hoodie and then your face all covered up and whatever this thing is, you know, you hiding your face, your nose, and you can tell when it's getting ready to jump off, you know, and a lot of the times you'll see sometimes it starts at the park because they start gathering, and the girls is in it too. I mean, you know, they out there, they're enticing the boys because they're out there doing all this grinding and stuff. The girls is grinding on each other. Then eventually the boys get the sweet.
Okay,
no,
man.
I'm telling you what I see.
You said you weren't going to be long. I told you I had a guess.
Okay. Well, anyway, finishing up. And then they fight each other and then they turn around and then they do this smoking and then all this you know, playing together for a few minutes. And then so that's where it starts. And then it escalates from there, whether it's, you know, crazy driving or somebody's got a gun or, you know, whatever. But anyway, so that's the beginning of it right there. You can tell the way they dress. You can look at the park and see how they act. And my property ain't the extension of a park. Don't run down this way.
See, okay, here we go. Thank
yeah,
you.
get off my grass.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for the call. Appreciate
Get
it.
off my grass.
Oh my God. If he could just somebody put Pooh Icy Mask in the comments too.
Well, yeah, that's what I was
And
gonna
just
say.
to clarify, the fight was not the kids at Destiny High School. The venue was being used by another school. So it was not the children from Destiny High School that were doing the fight.
So my question is, and I see this, and I know what Tyrone is talking about. In the summertime, when it's 90 degrees, you see them in hoodies and these Pooh Shiesty masks, which this rapper made it famous for putting it on when you're getting ready to do a demonstration. So that's what that really is. That's really you putting on clothes to go commit a crime. But they made it famous. They made it so all of the young people that you see out now, sometimes they'll just have on a t-shirt, black jeans, and the mask. It's 90 degrees outside. Why are you walking around with a mask? Oh.
Yep.
And the only reason why they are doing it is because Cardi B said it. No face, no case. So if you can't see, and if I do something, you can't point me out.
Yep.
Well, I think obviously not all kids that are wearing this are doing that. You go because I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to be cool. I'm trying to.
That's what it is.
It doesn't. I mean, we see a lot of people do stupid stuff because that's what you think. Like I remember somebody was walking around and they had GD on their jacket, and I asked them. I said, "What's on your jacket?" And they was like, Gangster Disciple, GD Nation. This child was no. I'm like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. But you think it's cool. You think it's something you ought to. Yeah. And so I think sometimes these kids are doing stuff solely for the purposes of fitting in or going along to get along. So it can just be a hot mess. I'll say that. Let me get this next caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
All right. Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
I'd just like to shed light. That type of appearance should be banned. And it really took off more when COVID gave them to initiative that they could put masks on. And so the younger youths kept that in stride. Before, when I was coming up, the whole thing was about get a hoodie, hit a lick in the morning. And now it's wear a hoodie, period, just in case you see anybody you want to rob. So I think that anyone that's still walking around here in hot weather, regardless whatever, should be picked off the street, given a ticket for a conspiracy of crimes. Because there should not be, if you're looking like a dope dealer, you can't say that you ain't trying to look like one, right?
See, now, okay.
Okay, now I'm serious.
I'm just gonna say though, bruh, think about stop and frisk in New York.
What's up? Wait. I'm talking about the mask.
But wearing a mask is not illegal. It's not illegal.
It should be. It should be here.
But it's a lot of people that still wear masks. I see people. I was at church yesterday and some people had a mask. It's people still wear masks.
Can I make my point, please?
Please go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. There's two things that I find there's a problem of identity. Now, if everybody talking about identity theft, what about individual false identity? What about a man dressing up like a woman to rob a bank? What about a woman dressing up like a man to rob a bank? Okay. What about an individual being prepped and prepared to rob somebody as being part of the scheme every day?
But you can't assume because I got a mask on, I'm prepping to rob somebody.
And listen, if you got your whole face covered, okay, whole face and the head covered, and it's hot.
But that's not a mask. Your whole face covered is not a mask.
Wait a minute. I don't know if you know how many different food shiesties, different type of things that they got.
I've seen a few of them, and I know that they have them. But I'm gonna just say right now, you cannot make something like. I mean, and let me be clear. There are municipalities that would try to make that illegal. Let me just say that, depending on who they are and where they are. And we actually, you know what? And we actually have an attorney in the studio who does civil rights work and who does a number of cases. So
well,
I would be interested.
Trump about civil rights, because it don't seem like anybody got rights in America.
Well, yes, they do. Yes, they do. White men got plenty of rights. So,
wait,
so there are folks that got rights in America. There are.
I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm trying to help the issue. If you got individual praising a look of robbery, okay? Now, what if they was walking around here with KKK hats on? What you gonna say then, Michelle?
First of all, while I will be offended, it's not illegal to wear. While I would be offended, it's not illegal to wear a KKK hat, even though I'm offended. So I'm not gonna say nothing.
But if they walk past you or got too close, that is more like a threat to you. Okay. That's
so,
more like you can't even walk past these individuals because
but
you don't know what they own.
Look, thank you, bro. I appreciate the call.
Baby kids robbery.
I got you, bro. I appreciate the call. I got to get ready for my guest. And but I'm just gonna say this: there are a lot of people that do things that are suspect and questionable, and we have seen people popularize, the mask and certain gear. But I'm going to always err on the side of, and people don't like it, people get upset with me. I am not going to say just because you look a certain way or you wear certain things that immediately makes you a suspect or suspicious. Because if that's the case, Black men don't have to do nothing but walk outside, because the world has been told to be afraid of a brother. I don't care if you got a suit on or if you got a mask on. You get on the elevator with me, I'm still clutching my purse. You walk beside me or alongside me, I'm still, paying attention. We have to be careful. I understand the quest to be safe, but I say it all the time. What do we give up because we are afraid? So I create a situation in which young Black boys, young Black men can be harassed because they're simply doing a stupid fashion trend. And people do dumb stuff all the time, especially young people. I could talk to any man in this studio and get a story about something they did that was stupid. I got to take a break, and then when we come back, we'll bring in attorney Mark Thompson. Maybe he's interested in weighing in on this subject matter. But what do I say? We're going to have roll calls in our neighborhoods because we worried about safety. But that looks crazy, that you got the police doing a roll call because you feel safer because they're there for 15 minutes doing a roll call. All that's nonsense. Stop and frisk in New York. The overwhelming majority of people that fit a profile, you look like a drug dealer, you was dressed a certain way, you had a chain on, 90-some% of them people weren't doing anything wrong. They were not. And as somebody who has had my son pulled out of a line in Chicago airport and taken to a back area where they opened up his packages that he was taking home for Christmas. And when he is 16, I got to come back to the airport. What the heck is going on? And they give me a sheet of paper saying he fit the profile of a drug dealer because he had on a nice leather jacket, he had an earring in his ear, and he had on expensive looking clothing. So understand that profiling can go both ways, whether it's the mask or you look too good. And how dare you, young Black man, have on nice clothes and have nice jewelry? You must have stolen it. I got to take a break. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the show. Messing with Jermaine Ride out on the countdown. He may start at 7 and get you to 15. So as I told you before we went to break, today we are doing a makeup show of sorts, if you will. Typically we have attorney Mark Thompson in. The Scales of Justice is the name of the segment, with Gingrich Watts. And what's the other person's name on the door?
Good morning, Michelle. This is attorney Mark Thompson. This is the Scales of Justice. I'm a proud partner with Gingrich, Thompson, and Watts. We are located, we handle cases all over the state and around the country with primary offices here in Milwaukee, Madison, and Eau Claire. we've got a long history of representing people who've been injured, whether it's a drunk driver, reckless driver, bad truck driver. The issue is, what is justice for each person? And we listen to our clients, and we do everything we can to help them be made whole. I've got the honor and privilege of also doing civil rights work. We do employment discrimination work. So we are always focused on justice for our clients, working together, because you cannot handle a case for a person who's injured without their help, their time, and listening. It is we accompany our clients on that road. And so if you need us, folks, the number is 414-837-4167, 414-837-4167, GTW Lawyers. And frankly, I hope you never need us, because that means something bad happened. And I never wish bad things to happen to anybody, and not even MAGA. But that's sort of jumping into the issue, because
Well, wait, let me do this before you jump into the issue, because I got up this morning, had the news on in the background while I was making coffee, and when they talked about a case that's getting ready to go to court today, you popped into my head right away. So the 2 Marquette students that were killed by a drunk driver, and the trial for this woman who was accused of killing these 2 young men. I guess things are getting underway this morning at 8:30 a.m. She's facing 2 counts of homicide by intoxicated use of a vehicle. And I was trying to understand like how these charges work, because by all accounts, people know, like, I didn't intend to get behind the wheel and do this kind of damage, this fatal, accident. But is it just anything that people need to understand about when you make decisions to get behind the wheel, or if folks say, hey, it's my first offense, or I thought about, like, do I get to say disease because of alcoholism? I thought about you right away when I saw that case.
Well, I'm glad you're somewhere in that memory bank of yours. I do appreciate that. I'll start right out. I've never done criminal defense work.
Okay.
Right. But let's go to the question that you pose. Folks, do not get behind the wheel if you're drinking or getting high. Okay. When you are impaired, you create risks, not only to other people, but to yourself and to your loved ones. In today's era, get a ride, walk, take a Lyft, take an Uber. Do not drive and drink. Do not drive and get high. It's just,
I'm like,
look,
this lady's life is over. You have taken
and
2 lives.
That situation is so fundamentally tragic, because
my God.
The driver of the other vehicle also lied about the speed, right? And so we have someone who's impaired saying, well, this kid is speeding, but you do not get a pass, folks.
I just
stay away from driving.
And today, like you said, we have way more options than people had back in the day. That case bothered me.
No, it's horrible. People, the woman, everybody's lives are destroyed.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
And it's just not worth destroying everything just to get a buzz. I mean, it's just silly, right?
So,
but it's a big problem in Wisconsin.
Oh, it is.
I mean, we definitely have an alcohol problem.
And I remember, and I actually, I came to Wisconsin because my husband worked for Miller Brewing Company. And we would talk about, behind the scenes, kind of like how a lot of things were downplayed in terms of alcohol related accidents or injuries, because you in a brew city, this is people's livelihoods and jobs. So the data that really should have been out there and people should have been talking about, it was kind of, suppressed, because this is how folks are eating and paying the mortgage and sending kids to college. But some of those numbers were just startling about how much drinking we did in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I mean, and there are enough folks now that are sober, have a designated driver, right? I mean, if you're going to go out and play, just take someone along, and don't be stupid. I mean, it's just tragic. It's tragic.
All right, so let me just pull you in to this real quick before we get into some of the stuff that you brought. You were here as I was finishing up that last phone call, and we were talking about this trend now of seeing some young people wearing these face masks, some of them fully in covering their faces, and the intent possibly to commit a crime or not. But as people talk about creating laws to outlaw certain things, just any thoughts after hearing that conversation?
Many.
Okay.
What's ironic about this, and you said it, that this happens every generation, for every generation of youth. When I was 15 in Blair, Nebraska, high school, there was the whole trend to have long hair. So I'm a freshman, I'm playing football, and they will not let you play football unless you have a butch, just shaved down, right?
Okay.
Old school, right? This is late 60s, right?
Okay.
I'm dating myself now. But, there was, and I wanted to grow out my hair. And the school wouldn't let me. They had a dress code. They started kicking me out literally every 2 weeks because my hair right now would require a haircut, because if it went over your ear.
Right. Yeah.
You were out of school. And it happened.
And there's still schools today that have that policy.
This is a lesson I'll never forget. I was so outraged. I came home. I said, I'm never going back to the place. And my dad was a preacher and a college professor at the time. He said, okay, you don't have to go back. He went to Omaha and he had talked to the ACLU lawyers about my civil rights. And there was a case that had just come down. It was Tinker's, called famous case, that said kids in high schools had constitutional rights. And that had something to do with a t-shirt. And my dad hired them, and behind the scenes went to the school board and said, look, you're going to change your dress code and let my kid come back to school, or we're going to sue you. And they cut a deal. I didn't even know what was really going on because I was just furious. I'm young, right? I'm outraged that I can't grow my hair, right? Wasn't masked, but it was just my hair. And I mean, you think about it now too. Who's out there playing football that doesn't have hair to their butt?
Right.
I mean, the superstar athletes, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't go to school and I couldn't be an athlete because I wanted hair. And adults were so stupid about that.
But I mean, but we're still dealing with
that.
But
I mean,
today.
that's my point, though. every generation deals with stupid adults. Right? So let me finish my. So my dad came to me and said, "Like you can cut your hair one more time and go back, and they'll get rid of the dress code, or you can never cut your hair again, and we'll just file a lawsuit. It's up to you." I said, "I'll get it cut one more time." That was it. The dress code in Blair, Nebraska disappeared. Everybody grew out their hair. You know, we got over all that stuff, but it was too late for them. They still didn't let me play football. But the point, though, because you're talking about the laws and masks, young people are going to do their thing. And we, as adults, we can't presume because they're doing it, it's evil. Right?
Right.
And what hit me about the conversation is the biggest problem in masks in the United States today is with ICE. ICE, don't forget, folks, remember Minneapolis? ICE shows up in masks without IDs, terrorizing our streets and murdering people. Now, if you're going to be concerned about masks, that's where the concern is, because this is linked to what I wanted to talk about in the few minutes we have left. We have a country right now run by MAGA and a Supreme Court run by MAGA that has declared that their people of color have virtually no rights in this country. Last time you and I were here, we were talking about the Gutting the Voting Rights Act by this case called Calais.
Right.
June 2nd, since we were there, since we last talked, case went back to the Supreme Court. Alabama had been deemed to intentionally discriminate against African Americans by its map that only allowed one minority majority congressional district.
Right.
That case had been in litigation 4 years, and the federal court, after finding facts, that there had to be two. That was going to be the map. After the Calais decision, the court ruled under our colorblind constitution, Alabama can get rid of one of those two African American seats.
So
now,
wait. Let me do this. I need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll pick this up. And I want people to pay close attention because this is going to impact us on the federal level. And even though here in Wisconsin, Congresswoman Moore's seat is protected.
That's going to affect everybody.
Yeah, but a simple shift in who sits in the governor's office, we could be having very similar conversations right here in our own backyard. So let me take a break so we can hurry up and get back. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM.
WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to the show, folks. So we're going to go a little bit longer today with Attorney Thompson than we normally would, just because, we started a little bit late with them, but also because of the weightiness of the topic. So, Mark, before we went to the break, we were talking about what has been done to, in effect, the way it materializes. It looks like an all-out war on Black folks in this country in terms of congressional representation, voting rights. During the break, we were talking about the fact that Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, has a picture of a Tuskegee Airman removed, talking about,
a four-star general.
A four-star general, yes. And I will mention it because it's General Chappie, and I'm going to do a piece on that this morning. But so please finish your thoughts, because Alabama is near and dear. I'm paying attention to what's happening, and we most likely are going to lose that second congressional seat in Alabama.
You know, it's sort of like they have, they took 4 years off and they developed a plan. And they are implementing this plan to deconstruct the United States. The Voting Rights Act was the key central act that attempted to say every human being in this country has a right to vote, and we are going to protect their right to vote. And in particular, it was designed to allow representation and from the African American community, right? Let's be very clear about that. And now, under the guise, on June 2nd, the Supreme Court has said, under the guise of a colorblind constitution, let's be clear about this at the beginning. Our Constitution has never been colorblind, folks. When it was implemented, right, it had slavery was part of the Constitution. That's not a colorblind Constitution. Exactly. Okay, exactly. So, and then we had the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments that attempted to say, right, we are a country and we are going to count every black vote, every black human being as important, as equal to every white human being. That was the attempt. Those amendments were passed to oppose the South, the Confederacy, because, folks, there are people in this country, and right now MAGA, that want to go back, that only white men can vote. Only white men can control. No doubt that's what they believe. This decision in Allen, under this guise of a colorblind constitution, now gutted a black representative in Congress from Alabama. After this fall election, Congress is going to look differently. And every one of us has to start paying attention, because these things don't happen like overnight.
Right.
But it is not a slow train, folks. This is a fast train that's coming right at us to dehumanize folks. And it's tied, and I have to say this, it's tied with the ICE, and it's tied to the whole anti-immigrant movement. Congress just gave MAGA another $70 billion to go after immigrants. And if you look at, the paper today, yes, up on Door County, nobody can work. There are people working 100 hours a week just to keep their stores open because DHS isn't providing visas to people. Now, MAGA's policies are going to blow us up economically. It's going to stifle our growth. But morally, it's bankrupt and it's corrupt. And so to me, Juneteenth is Friday, right? Juneteenth is a reminder of the costs of freedom, right? Juneteenth. You think about this, right? 2 years after the Lincoln's
emancipation,
right after his proclamation,
right,
the word gets to Texas. Now today we don't have 2 years, right? We got the internet. All this stuff is TikTok. It's the lies all over the planet with 1 million likes before anything can happen. But right now, to me, is what does freedom mean? And it's also in the 250th. What does that mean? We got rid of a king. We have a new king. right? Look at the White House and look at the, there used to be a rose garden. Now what's there? I mean, it's like, a Roman Colosseum, without the bloodshed. But I mean, this is not the Union, folks. This is not America. And on Juneteenth, we have to understand, right? Freedom is against kings, but it's also for equal rights. And all of us, look at every white folk, anybody that's white that's listening to me, you need to wake up and stand by our fellow citizens.
Everybody needs to wake up, because there's black folks that support this nonsense. Sit right here in the studio and support it. Is that get roll through here and espousing this stuff on other network or other stations that support this foolishness. I literally just saw this black woman on something the other day, celebrating how Donald Trump called Kristen Welker stupid and berated her. And she thought it was some great thing. And I'm looking at this black woman like what in the world is wrong with you? So we got plenty of work across the board that people need to, because the Hispanic Latino community, way too many folks in that community support Donald Trump and MAGA. When you see these targeted policies against immigrants, and I literally watched interviews where folks said, well, yes, we came in illegally, but we've become good standing citizens, but we don't want to see other people come in. So what is wrong?
Right here.
Here. It's Mark.
No. Okay. But so the challenge becomes, what are we going to do to stop this white power movement? And to me, what's also unique, the Republican Party of my life doesn't exist. Okay, the modern MAGA party, because that's what I'm calling it, because it's not. If you look at Eisenhower, 1959, post World War II, go look at what he ran on. He ran. Eisenhower ran on taxing the rich at 90%, and he talked about equal rights for equal pay, right? Eisenhower as a Republican doesn't exist in MAGA anymore. And we have to adjust our thinking and figure out what are we going to do, because, and this comes home to Wisconsin, we're having a race for governor, right? The candidate that's running on the Republican, that's not a Republican. That is a MAGA. What does that mean? Right? They are avowed right now against equal rights. Mm-hmm. Okay, and we were talking off, because I live on the east side. I drive right down, coming down here. But we know there is a Republican Party office sitting on North and Martin Luther King.
Right.
I mean, that's a desecration to have a white power office. And you pointed out the Democrats haven't stood up. I worked with the Milwaukee County Dems last year, and we had discussions about we had to put a Dem Party office on the north side in the African American community. That still hasn't happened, right? It took a fight to get a Latino office. My party, if it's going to have any meaning in November, has to have offices where everybody is, and we have to be hungry for every vote, and we have to go take care of people. You're absolutely right. But we have to really think about, what does that mean in November? And on this Juneteenth day, and folks, we're really proud. We are shut down. That's a holiday for our office, right? every law office, frankly, everybody, that should be a holiday. That should be a holiday. We should have people out here talking about what does it mean to be a free people? What are the responsibilities of free people? And what are we going to do together to make sure this MAGA outrage does not consume us and destroy us?
Because the one thing I don't think that enough people appreciate, and there's actually a Republican leaning caller who says this frequently when he calls, but it's meant, in a different way. But the sentiment I get, many of the rights that were fought for and secured by African Americans have benefited society as a whole. So we didn't just get the 1965 Voting Rights Act for Black people. Everybody else that had been pushed out.
Absolutely. It was freedom.
Got to come in, and benefit from that. When we start talking about employment practices and looking at organizations that had traditionally kept minorities out, kept women out of leadership roles, when those things begin to change, they benefited everybody. And so as we talk about
white women probably more than anybody.
They were the biggest beneficiaries, the biggest in terms of workplace DEI policies. So trying to get folks to understand that so many times you are voting against your own interest. You are doing things that ultimately will hurt your daughter, your granddaughter, your son, even, quite frankly. So we will have some of these conversations. You're actually going to join us on Juneteenth.
I am honored and privileged to share the studio with you twice in a week.
We will.
It's a gift. Thank you very, very much.
No, I appreciate it. And a lot of people are paying attention. They talked about the profiling. People were weighing in on the whole issue about the mask. I mean, at the end of the day, everybody's trying to figure out how to be safe. And, I always tell people we need to figure out how to be safe and how to be fair.
Yeah, look, you can be safe and protect people's constitutional rights.
Right.
You have to remember, every law can be used to flip. And so you have to think it through. Here, right now, MAGA is using laws that came out of Reconstruction to attack us.
They're using laws that were intended to help Black people now against them.
Here, I served on the Wisconsin Election Commission, right? MAGA sued the commission because we didn't turn over confidential private information from
voting information.
Right? Under state law, we can't do it. It's private. They came in with this law, Reconstruction, said, of course we can. Now, the lawsuit was dismissed. It's going to go on appeal. But every law can be used both ways.
Right.
So you have to be thoughtful about this, folks. Right. So if you just say mask, because we want some young kids with some masks, because we're afraid, that's going to turn into racial profiling, and it's going to be a nightmare. Absolute nightmare. Right.
All right.
Yeah, and we've been here before, right?
Yeah, we got to be careful.
The Seventh Circuit. Let me just finish, right? Your friend's son, right? Young Black man running across the street to his neighbor with a turkey on Christmas was stopped because that was a suspect. Now, you say a mask, folks, think about this. But here's the other side. You must remember, the law in Wisconsin, the law in the country is even 1 second of an unlawful detention is too long. Okay? We have rights. They only exist if we fight for them, and they're only going to exist if we fight for them together.
So for folks who may need legal representation, have a question, want to reach out to the firm, how do they get in touch with you, Mark?
It's Gingras, Thompson, and Wax, 414-837-4167, gtwlawyers.com. Thank you, Michelle. Have a wonderful week. I'll see you on Juneteenth.
I'll see you on Juneteenth.
Freedom.
I can have a leave.
Freedom.
Friday already. It is Friday. All right, family, let me take a quick break. I want to thank Attorney Thompson The conversations, I'm telling you, they are as deep in the break as they are on air. And I look forward to talking to them on Friday. Take a quick break and I will be right back. All right, family, welcome back to the show. Got a caller. Let me get them in real quick. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
Hey, I want to do Mark Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to hook him up a cap and customize him a cap like I did for you guys.
Oh, okay. What do you need?
If you can get his information and what his logo is, and I can take it from there.
Oh, and I just got my hat.
Hold up. Wait,
I just got my hat.
Hold up.
My hat is amazing. Thank you.
Hold up.
Oh my God. Yeah, I got mine this morning.
I got an issue, man. Hold on.
It is beautiful. I can't wait to have it on Friday.
I got an issue.
I'm gonna be fly to death, bro.
Brother Anthony.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
We calling you to the front of the congregation now, brother. Now I see several people here from WNOV has a hat. Several.
Okay.
Now, brother, is there something that we got to talk about? Because I don't have one.
You do have one.
Oh, well, where is it?
It's the reason why Michelle got hers today was by design.
What's by design? Hey, hold on. Hey, man.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Say, man.
No, you do have one, but it's by design for Michelle to get hers this morning. That was all by plan.
So,
and it was an amazing plan.
Well,
I was so shocked when I came in this morning. Completely made my day.
So when is mine coming? By design.
By design.
By design. When is mine coming?
Yours been ready. I just haven't turned it in to you yet.
See, because all y'all ordered before me.
Oh,
all y'all got
first of
and
all,
didn't tell me about
Debo and Clark came up in here.
You can stop all that head shaking.
I'm telling,
because you was a part of it.
I wasn't a part of it.
Thank
Where's
you,
my
Anthony.
hat? I wasn't a part of it.
You was a part of it. You was a sellout.
Anthony,
all y'all got
your
stuff done before me. So.
And Michelle, I do have another one that I'm gonna customize for you, and it'll be like no other cap. But you can get my information from people.
You just made her day.
Hey, man, I got issues, man. I got dude. You know what?
No, because everybody know my caps are signatures.
No.
So
I ain't trying to hear that,
I wear a cap every day.
You know what?
Y'all don't wear caps every day.
Who don't wear caps every day?
Whatever. Thank you so much, bro. I will make sure I get your info so we can get you connected. I know Mark will appreciate it. That is so cool. Thank you so much.
He gonna call and offer to make Mark one, but not even Mark get his. Hey, man, don't come in here, Debo. Debo come in here smiling like the Kool-Aid, man. Get up out of here, man. Come on,
hey,
man.
you guys have a great day, man. I got you right out.
Yeah, man. Whatever. Bye, man.
All right, man.
All right. Look, I just can't get over.
She got a hat too?
Oh no, yeah, the show on. You can still be done. Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't, man.
Nope.
You know,
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. Look,
it feel like Harold Melvin, and I'm part of the Blue Note.
You are. Didn't nobody come to see you, Otis?
I know.
I'm sorry.
I feel like I'm part of the Blue Note.
I'm sorry. I don't know what else you want me to say. Nobody's here for you. He said. Got another one coming from Michelle. And it's only appropriate. Given the way I was treated, it is only appropriate.
And what about me? You just don't understand.
We on the air. I'm gonna tell you what about you as soon as we go to our next break. Let me go to the phone line. Hey caller, what's happening? Hello.
Well, happy Vaseline Day, man.
Oh, what?
What's going on, bro?
Hey, I wish somebody mistaken and not put the bungee cord and throw Trump off the dang on cliff.
Did you see that, bro? That was crazy.
Man,
Or did they purposely do that? Because
I don't know, but
how do you not see the cord hooked onto the person?
First of all, hey, wait, I'm gonna tell you this. I think it was on purpose because the person who recorded could have said, "Hey, slow down, y'all ain't got the cord." While you taking the video and recording at the bottom of the ground with the cord not hooked up to the lady, man, y'all done threw the lady off the thing on cliff for real.
And you can see her clearly over the dude's heads, like you don't see no cord or nothing.
Man, they tossed that girl off the cliff like they tried to throw in that big green dumpster outside.
But I mean, so just so folks know, there was a woman, and this was over in Brazil, 21 years old. So young woman.
Oh, they all went to jail.
Yeah, and so she was thrown from a bridge without her bungee cord being properly secured. The woman, the video, and you can see the video. You see him hoisting her up, tossing her over the side of the bridge. She got on her helmet. Her arms is outstretched, thinking she about to have the time of her life. These three men lift her up, and she is. I'm telling you, and
man, she's Superman, man.
They throw her off the cliff, and this woman's bungee cord is not attached.
Like clearly, you don't see nothing tied to her feet, to her waist, or nothing. So you
come on, man.
And say she was 130 feet above ground, and they just. And so just think about when she realizes she's not tethered to anything.
Well, I'm sure
she didn't snap back.
But oh no, we ain't gonna tell no jokes. We ain't gonna tell no jokes about the mic down.
No, I'm just saying that. That's not a joke. That's not a joke.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. You know what? You raggedy. Bye. Hang up. Bye. Bye. Listen, nothing. Tell about something she didn't snap back. But you know what? I don't like y'all. I don't like y'all at all. Because that is a hot mess. This woman is gone. I think. Are you gonna keep laughing, Debo? I'm moving on. I'm moving right past y'all. I
believe I can fly.
Jermaine.
What I do?
What is wrong with you all?
It's Monday.
This ain't gonna do with it being Monday.
Oh, okay.
This child is gone because somebody didn't do their job and they kill this girl.
Somebody got to live to tell the testimony.
Yeah, but not to crack jokes. Oh, speaking of cracking jokes, did y'all hear Wanda Sykes and Bill Maher got into it?
I heard something about it, but I didn't know what it was.
See,
about.
what they say all the time: you can dish it, but you can't take it.
Take it.
Wanda Sykes, as a part of her, she was doing a little monologue thing at one of the award shows, and she said, something like, "Everybody watch Bill Maher's show, but less of him would be better," or something like that. Less is more. Like basically he talking too much and he talking real reckless. And he sees her after the presentation and charge her up about what she said. And she was like, I'm standing on it. That's what I said. But I thought it was so funny. You sit up and talk crazy about people all the time. But the minute somebody says something about you publicly, now you want to whine about it. I'm sick of these people. You know the arena you playing in. If you're going to talk slick, Donald Trump, then you need to be prepared for somebody to come for you. I'm not a fan of Stephen A. Smith, but I appreciated what he said when he got at Trump, because Trump called him low IQ after Stephen A. Smith said, you jankied up the whole New York game the NBA game when you went. You inconvenienced all these fans, diehard fans, for your 5 seconds of inserting yourself in the process only to get there and take a nap. And then Stephen A. said, the other thing, like some of this is race, because you got a real bad habit of calling a bunch of black folks low IQ. So even though, you do call some white folks low IQ, but so I appreciated Stephen A.'s, clapping back. You talk crazy and ignorant to everybody. And I loved, he finally said on camera what we say all the time. When they said, well, why do you think he said low IQ or something? He said, because he don't have no vocabulary. He has a limited vocabulary. He's dumb. He does not have range on words. Oh man, I was like, don't make me be cheering for Stephen A.
Hey, but did you see what the UFC fighter said yesterday
about
Michelle Obama?
What?
So after the fight, and I got the video.
Oh my God, go ahead.
After the fight, he said, and America, we can agree that Michelle Obama looks like a man. Yeah. I said, what in the world? Are you serious?
So let me see. UFC fighter Josh Hokett. What's his name? Josh.
Oh, here it is.
Hokett disrespects.
And lastly, Michelle Obama is a man. Am I right, America?
Right. But he didn't get the cheers that he thought he was going to get.
That's
saying
what he
that
thought
she's a
he
man.
did.
Yeah, but they didn't respond how he thought that they was going to respond.
I mean,
Unbelievable.
Like,
unbelievable.
So the whole reason why, on one hand, so him and old boy who runs the UFC have been friends for 20 plus years. And, Trump realizes his base is young white men, disgruntled, angry young white men, and silly, ignorant black men who don't know no better. But, so this whole thing, is about trying to appeal to these young men to try to get them to turn out for midterms. This is all political in nature. There's nothing, American celebratory, by happenstance. All of this is very deliberate and by design to appeal to a particular demographic, because we're going to need that demographic to retain power. And so if we can get these young white men who are disenfranchised, who believe they're disenfranchised, who are disgruntled, who unhappy because your life has not gone the way you thought it would, even though I love what one of my friends say, if you're a white man in this country and you're not successful, that's on you. Because all of the rules are set up for you to succeed. All of the rules are set up for you to succeed. Those few little seats that they put aside for women and people of color, they fighting over 4 or 5 seats while you got 80. So if you're not succeeding, that's on you. So a lot of people understand this UFC culture is full of guys that are white racists. If truth just be told. I know people that follow. I don't follow. But I know people who go to the events, who are in the rooms, and engage with people, and the stuff that gets said. They understand who these people are. Not all of them, obviously. But yeah, he knew he was being a racist, and he came to say something ignorant. Why are you there and feel like you need to take this moment on this national platform to disparage a woman? So they already tell you're a sorry, trifling man anyway, that you're going to use your 5 seconds of fame to go after a woman that's not bothering you. Didn't have nothing to do with this event. And then who comes behind it and says you out of order, fam? Right. So it's all meant to appeal. But the one thing, that this little cat didn't understand, it's a whole bunch of people who whoop your behind about Michelle Obama. Yeah. That's the piece that they seem to feel like they unleashed, white boys gone wild. We can say whatever we want to say. No, hell, you can't. Just like the white man found out down in Georgia, who, as a black family, was convening to celebrate the birthday of a grandmother. So it ends up being a family reunion because everybody comes in to celebrate this. And this white guy who's a neighbor in the area drives down the street. And I guess he's so upset at seeing all these black people, he yells out his window, effing niggers. And the black people don't give him the rise that he wants. And so then he goes home and puts on body armor and straps up with his AR-15 and comes back and shoots at the people unprovoked. But it was a brother there who had a gun who shot back. What is that part about? I'm telling y'all about being strapped up. and all this foolishness we be doing in the black community. Get the guns out of our community. No, be responsible as a gun owner. But you take all the guns out of our community and they come in here shooting at us. What we gonna do? Stand up against the wall and wait to just drop?
Throw scriptures out.
Get the guns out of our community. And y'all let these people have y'all going around telling people, get the guns out the black community. What if a brother didn't have a gun at that event when this white man shows up with this AR-15 shooting at this family? Unprovoked, for no reason other than you are upset that it's a group of black people at this home minding their own black business.
Yeah, that could have been devastating, because with all of the kids and the elderly people that was there, when you watch the video, you hear the little kids screaming and running and crying. And I thought about my grandson. I thought about my nieces and nephews. I thought about my aunties and uncles. And I'm like, just to be in a situation like that people come from out of town to celebrate, and here you are now running from gunshots from somebody that don't like your skin color.
I mean, it is absolutely asinine that this man, his wife was driving when he first drove by the car, when he yells out the window, effing, niggas. And then you don't get a ride, so you come back and you shoot at these people. But the thing that got me is that he was out on bail because his bail was set at $5,000.
And they said they have never saw a judge do something like that, and it's attempted murder or it's reckless endangerment with a weapon. They've
20
never saw that.
Children and adults was outside of this home, was at this event. 20. You get a AR-15 rifle and you shoot into this crowd of people and you get arrested and you only got to post $5,000 bail to get out. That's it. Attempted murder, you can post 5 G's was the number. So, when Mark is sitting here saying that this stuff is coming at us like a freight train, we know that he is not wrong. That's why it's just consistently sickening as you sit here and listen to people try to justify why they support a particular candidate or party. And what's his name? Travis on Facebook, Travis Clark, or whatever his name is. He always got some ignorant nonsense stuff. I be like, black man, what is wrong with you? You're going to blame everybody else. I'm sorry. Oh, wait. You're not going to blame anybody that's white for anything that's going on. So let me also, because somebody had put something up on on the chat, a couple of things from the chat I want to go back to. Somebody, in terms of the fight at the graduation, somebody said they were there and that some outside kids came to the graduation with the intent of fighting this guy. I'm going to still say the same thing. The fact that you got young black kids who ain't afraid to walk up into an event where they know black grown folks is going to be. Because if we weren't scared of nobody, we were scared of we were scared of grown black folks. But see, because now you got all these parents who tell you don't say nothing to my child. And they see you disrespect other adults who trying to check your child about behavior that's inappropriate. They see you talk crazy to the teacher. They see you be disrespectful. They don't care about the fact that it's a room full of black parents in this room when you think you're going to run up in here and start fighting. Good morning. I attend, and this is what it said on social media. Good morning. I attended that graduation. 3 kids that didn't attend Carter's school came up there to jump on 2 students that graduated that day. It all stemmed from an altercation they had several months prior to the graduation. Wow. But what about you? Thought you was safe and gonna get away with coming up into a room where you know it's adults there, plenty of parents there, and you was gonna come whoop him in front of his people? Like, think about that.
That sounds like
I'm so bad, I'm so bold, I'm gonna walk in and whoop you in front of your mom and daddy. your uncle, your cousins, your whoever. Just think about the ignorance of that moment. Go ahead, Jay.
And I can guarantee you that some of that spilled over to social media, and them on social media saying what they was going to do and going back and forth. Because in these days and time, that's how everything get escalating. It's through social media, and you going back and forth. Well, I see you at the graduation and whatever. If that was the case. Now, from the video, you do see the dude, and when he get off stage, once he walk across, he have on his cap and gown.
Yep, and he
take off his hat and say something to the dude that's in the audience. The dude stand up, pull up his pants, and that's when you hear people talking like, "Hey, y'all, whatever." Now, this was right after they prayed.
Right. That part.
So it was
the whole thing is madness, and but let's think about it
from the school.
But let's think about it though. Let's carry that over to the NBA. The NBA finals.
Yeah.
So on one hand, you want to come in, you want to celebrate, you want to talk about the game, pros and cons. I really wanted to see you go to a game 7, but you can do all that. And somebody said, Michelle, I didn't see you at the George Wallace concert or our comedy show. Me and Jermaine had tickets.
Yeah.
But we realized at the last minute, dude, the game is tonight. George Wallace already had my money. I wasn't worried about going to the game. I mean, to the show. But that's why we wasn't there, because we realized that the game was on. But then all these videos and all of the stuff on news circulating, where you got fans beating up other fans for no other reason than you got on the other team's jersey. And in one case, the video Jermaine shared with me this morning, a fan is taken out of his jersey, and then they beating and kicking this man in his face. Yeah. They kicking him literally like they kicking a football, kicking him in the head to celebrate a basketball game. Like, all of this is being done to see. This is why I said all of this stuff is out there. And this was an excuse to do what you did. Chaos. This has nothing to do with basketball. If you beating up somebody in the streets behind a victory, like when they used to act a fool in Madison after a victory in Madison, and these kids burnt the car up and tearing up property, that's who you are.
That's what you wanted to do.
That's all along. All this gives you is the cover to be able to act the fool. But you are ignorant something out the gate. And that's the culture we're living in now that's being perpetuated. You got an ignorant, low-class individual in the White House who is trashy and vulgar and vile. And that is the atmosphere that we functioning in. I mean, he just got done talking about Benjamin Netanyahu and ignoring him. And, the F-bomb just it's like the regular word for him. It just gets used all the time. To Stephen A's, point, no vocabulary. No vocabulary. So there are tons of things that we will cover over the course of this week. But one is going to be a theme about who we are becoming and what we're doing. Right now, there was this story that I saw out there about these two sisters. One who was 9 months pregnant, and they stabbed a restaurant worker because their food order was wrong. Two young black ladies. You get hot with somebody because your food order is wrong, and you stabbed the restaurant worker. What is going on in this country? So I'm gonna wrap it. I'm gonna wrap the show for today. But we're gonna talk about tomorrow how one of Trump's son was trying to basically seem like he was doing some insider trade. I mean, some insider trading information on their UFC fight because he was trying to gamble. He wanted to know about injuries. And the UFC fighter posted it all. The chats going back, text messages going back and forth. He was like, "Yeah, I don't know why you asking me all of this. Who you think gonna win? Is there something I should know?" And the God literally realizes you trying to make a bet, man. And he puts dollar signs behind one of his comments in the text thread. So you're not rich enough. You want to figure out how to make money off this UFC fight, and you don't want to work and do it the right way. You want insider information so you could cheat and do it that way. This is who we got around the leadership in our country. So I will talk about whether or not we're going to see that tarp come off of Trump's name coming off the Kennedy Center, because it's still covered up right now. You don't see any pictures of it because that big baby couldn't take it on his birthday, having his name removed. So it's a tarp up. What is a tarp up for? We got to talk about all that this week. But when I say we got some reflection to do, and of course, if you're not raggedy, I'm not talking about you. But some of y'all don't know y'all raggedy. And the way you behave is raggedy. And then the last thing I will say before I get out of here, what we got to talk about this week, there have been 2 polls that have come out. Wiz Politics did a poll, and I think right here at Civic Media, we did a poll about the governor's race. Yeah, those polls look crazy. Those polls look crazy because some of the people leading the polls have not bothered to talk to this community not one time. That's why I'm wondering who the heck got polled. Because a couple of people that's leading, I don't know nobody that's talked to them. All right, that's the show. I will get to all the stuff over the course of this week. Bruhs, I appreciate y'all. Family, I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Peace.